Welcome to today's webinar on EquipFinder, the mobile app revolutionizing how employees manage and access equipment inventory and availability. Whether you're in the field, at the office, or anywhere in between, EquipFinder makes it simple to check inventory across multiple locations for specific date ranges, all from the convenience of your mobile device. EquipFinder empowers employees with real-time access to inventory information across multiple locations, allowing them to effortlessly check availability for specific date ranges. This powerful tool not only simplifies the inventory process but also enhances efficiency by enabling users to add items to a virtual shopping cart. From there, employees can seamlessly convert the selections into equipment requests, quotes, or even create a reservation directly through the app. During this webinar, we'll review how we can search for inventory based on date ranges and sites, how you'll be able to add items to a virtual shopping cart, and create equipment requests, quotes, or reservations. The R2 EquipFinder mobile app was written from the ground up. It utilizes a modern UI UX and has a really simple, intuitive workflow. It utilizes APIs, which are faster for connections to your R2 data. It's a native app, so it's available both on Android and on iOS platforms. And of course, it's available anywhere that you are as long as you have a mobile connection. With that, let's go into the app. So when we log into the app, we see the search bar up at the top allows us to search within categories, and then once we're into the categories, we can search for subcategories and then search for equipment. For the first look at the app, we're just going to go through a very simple process of searching using the categories that we see on the screen. So first, we do see that we have a date range. The date range is set by selecting a start date and an end date, and then closing that window, that'll set the dates for us. We also have a site selected. Right now we have Las Vegas selected. We could select additional sites, or we could select to view all sites. We'll actually come back to this and do this later to see the difference in the app. We do have our categories listed, and this is the simplest way to use the app. The categories that we have here are the same as your categories and subcategories within R2. So if we go to audio, within audio we will see our subcategories, again the same that are in R2. In this case I'm going to go to amps, and then I'll see a list of my amplifiers. Wherever there are images in R2, there will be images in the app as well, so you can quickly reference those. And then when I find the product that I need, if I click on that, it will show a larger image, and it will also show me now the quantity that I have available within the selected site. So in this case it's Las Vegas, and in Las Vegas I see that I have 2 out of 3 of them that are available. So in this case I could move on and add to the shopping cart, but before we do that, let's just go ahead and back out again, and I'm going to go back to the sites. I'm going to change the site to all sites, just so that we can see the difference in how the app reacts. So now let's go back again. We're in audio. Let's go back to amps. Let's pick that same amp, and now we see all 3 of our sites, and we see that in Santa Monica and LaSalle we don't have any available inventory, and in Las Vegas of course we still have those 2 out of 3. The quantity is defaulted to 1, so if I wanted to add just 1 to the shopping cart, I could just click on the add button. If I wanted to add more, then I'll use the plus sign and add more, and then click on the add button. That will add 2 of those items to my shopping cart. Let's just back out. Let's go to a different category, do the same thing one more time. I'm going to go this time to our video category and go to cameras, and then here I have list of my cameras, and then I can select which camera that is that I need. And then same thing again, I see the different sites and the quantities, and I can add to the shopping cart. Alright, let's get back home. In this case, I did just click on the home button that took me right back to the main categories, and then from there I can select. Now, of course, in my user interface here, I don't have that many categories, but if you did, you can use the search up at the top to search for the category. So in this case, I'll go ahead and type in audio and search, and that finds that category. Once I'm in the category, then the search changes to my subcategory. So if I search for amps, that'll find that subcategory. And of course, again, if everything is in your view, it's okay. You don't really have to use this search. I think at this point, once we get into a subcategory, and the list could be very long, this is where it actually becomes more meaningful to have a search. So if I did want to search based off of a piece of equipment or a product ID, I can type that in, hit search, and it'll go and find that product ID. And then I can add that, as I did earlier, to the shopping cart, or see the availability. Let's go back out. Let's go back home. Now, if we don't know the category or subcategory and we just want to search by a product ID, we do have that as well. We have our search button down at the bottom, and if I click on that, then it'll show us just a list of some of the products. But of course, then if I type in a search criteria and hit the search button, it'll bring up all of the products that match that search criteria. So in this case, I have 5 or 6. And then from here, of course, I can continue just to go into that product, and again see the availability, and then again add to the cart. So now that we've gone through that, I have 3 items that are in my cart, and if we go to the cart, those items are there. I can further go and modify this if I need to. I can delete items. I can just remove items from the shopping cart. And then down at the bottom, you see that we do have those 3 options for request, quote, and to make a reservation. Now this is, of course, directly connected to R2. So a quote and a reservation are functions that are within R2. And the request is a request that would actually create an email and send that email to whoever I chose to send it to. So here we have the email, we have copy to, so this is the ability to add that to another email address. Let's just have it send it to myself, where it would have been sending it to the default would be that it would send it to myself anyway, and then I can add some notes. So that is the functionality of the request. It's going, once I submit that request, it doesn't create an order in R2, but it will go and send the request out to anyone that's specified, and of course to myself as the creator. I'm going to back out of that. Let's go and create either a quote or a reservation. So if I say to create a quote, then it's going to ask me for some of the information that of course is required within R2. It does assume the dates from the dates that I entered onto the app, which is great. Less data entry. If I did want to change those dates, I can. the order. So right now it is just giving it a name from the app itself, so it's just an order from a mobile request. But I can change that if I want to. So this is going to be, I can change it to um, company is required for us to create an order. And of course here we can go and we can search the same companies that we have within R2. Pick unique business systems. And then it will populate other information from R2 as long as we have that information populated. And we can, of course, populate more information if we choose to. Booth, room, the country, the PO number if there's one associated. And then we can go ahead and submit that quote. Your quote ID 607444009, so that created a quote within R2, and then it did also empty out our shopping cart. And that same thing would happen if we were to create a reservation. So let's go ahead and note that number, and let's actually go and take a look at R2. So here we are in R2, and of course we'll just go search orders, enter in that order ID. The order comes up as a quote. That's what we selected to create it as. And if we go ahead and go into that order, we see that the equipment is added onto that quote. And we also notice that it does have a unit price of 0. As in the mobile app doesn't know what pricing group you'd like to use. So that is something that we would do in R2 to complete that order. So here within the payment tab, I can go and I'll pick Las Vegas, update the prices, and now it has prices, and now I'm ready to go and print that quote out. At UBS, we're also continuously trying to improve our apps and our offerings. And I'd like to just offer you a glimpse into the next version that we're going to be releasing of EquipFinder. The next version does have one nice enhancement to it, where when you get to the point of your cart, we're adding one more option. Instead of just to request a quote and a reservation, where you'll actually be able to add those items to an existing order. So obviously there's a huge benefit in this if you're out in the field and you're working on an order and you're missing something, or the customer asks for an additional piece of equipment. You can use your app, find the products, find their availability, add them to the cart, and then you can go and add them to the order. So let's go ahead and add to the order. The next screen that we are given is, of course, a list of orders. These orders are orders that fall within the date range that we've searched for the availability of the equipment. We can also search for an order, but from here we can go and pick an order, and then it'll show us the order, and then once we're happy with that, submit, and that will add those items onto the order. We do have the ability to change the item dates before adding if they're less than the entire order, and then submit it. I do want to emphasize that that functionality will be available in the next release of EquipFinder, which is due out soon. With that, that brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for your time.